has the ability to consider, obviously a cap of 25 means 5 to 25, and we're certainly not thinking by any stretch the court should consider anything between 5 and 25. The court shouldn't. This is a murder case. This is the taking of someone's life. But we're asking the court to perhaps consider something between 20 and 25 years. And I would ask that the court read the stipulated evidence, how it compares to her statement of the facts. I would also ask the court to consider the fact that she spent 1 year in jail and then 3 years on full house arrest. She didn't ask to go work. She didn't ask.
So what does she mean if you turn to page 11?
Yes, I was going to get to that part.
All right, if you can
You're
tell
talking
me
about
what
the
she
fair
means.
part?
Yes.
Yeah. So when she was asked about that, I asked her about that. I said, Mary, this sounds terrible. And she says, Charles, what I was trying to say was, when this happened, he had been, our situation, his and hers, was a volatile, abusive situation, and I had to make a decision on what to do, how to react. And I reacted in a way that turns out I had to make a decision that at the end wasn't fair to me. And in other words, she doesn't mean that this isn't fair. She means the result, she made a decision that in the end, the result wasn't fair to her, and that she was placed in a situation where she had to make a decision that it wasn't fair to make her make that decision. In other words, he placed her in the untenable situation where you've got to decide to make this decision. And it's not fair to put a person in a situation where you've got to choose either I'm going to do something terrible to you, or you have to do something terrible to me to keep that from happening to you. And that's not a fair decision to put another person in. And that's what she meant. She certainly does not mean that it's not fair that she's before this honorable court. So, so I asked her about that. I've cringed just like I'm sure you did when you read that. But that she's not inferring or not telling this honorable court that it's not fair that she's here. It's certainly fair. She's here. And if it wasn't fair, we wouldn't be here. We'd be in trouble. Certainly, Mr. Coach and myself, if we didn't think it was fair, we wouldn't have pled. We wouldn't be here. She understands, she accepts. What she meant was it's not fair to put in a person in a position to have to make that choice.